All right, so I'm going to show you the way that I condition my turkey calls. And this is important if you want to get a good, consistent sound. And today we're going to talk about friction calls. Right here I've got a glass call, got a slate call, got an aluminum call, all of which require a little bit different approach. Let's start with the aluminum. If you're using an aluminum call, it's very important to not use sandpaper or a stone. Brillo pad. You can buy 3 of these for about $1 at your grocery store. I cut them down to about this size, and you'll see that this, has some marks on it, some dust, thumbprints, whatever. You want all that to be gone. In a consistent direction, you're going to go on half the call, and you're literally just going to scrape maybe 4 or 5 times just that half, so it looks just like that. And that's going to be your calling surface, and you're going to take your striker and you're going to go against those grains. Just like that. You're going to make some yelps, some cuts. If you want to purr. So the lines you created with the Brillo pad, you'll call against them with your striker. That technique will apply also to a slate call. This is just a slate material. It's stone, more or less. This is especially sensitive to human oils, so don't touch this with your finger, ever. You can touch glass, you can touch aluminum because you can sand that off. Your oils get inside of a slate and it's hard to maintain. So same deal, you take the Brillo pad, not a stone, and it just takes a couple times. It is very reactive to the Brillo pad. So you've done the same thing. You'll notice a lot of these calls have labels. You're gonna scratch those off. That's just the way it is. It looks used. Same thing again. You're gonna call against the grain. I find a slate call to be a little bit better for purring, easier to control. Also, a slate call is better for volume. You can get real loud. You can also get pretty quiet. So, slate, aluminum, good to have. Now, when it comes to reach and a completely different style of maintaining, glass is a great way to go. Now, you'll also notice I'm not going to use the Brillo pad on the cover or on the top of the glass. Here I've got sandpaper. You can use a stone. They sell those, but this is sandpaper on a block of wood. And it's going to take a while to get that area scuffed up from the beginning. And again, you're destroying the surface of your glass. That's just the way turkey calls work. So, scratch that up. It's going to take more time to maintain and condition a glass call than it will anything else. Again, you go against the grain. You're going to have a lot more volume. You're going to have a lot more reach. Glass is a great run and gun call. It purrs great. So, if you're going to have a couple slate calls, make sure you got glass, make sure you have slate and aluminum. All have different sounds and all have different applications. That's how you condition the surface of those calls. Now the strikers, that's a whole nother thing. Every single time that you run this call, you'll see it's got a little buildup of material. That black stuff you see is from the slate call, from the glass call. It's all the residue that you just scuffed up on that call. Same with these. If it's a carbon striker you're going to use, I don't care. The maintenance side of things is the same, and you need to maintain your strikers as much, if not more, than you do the surface of your calls. Let's start with this one. Here's how I do this. You can get a loose piece of sandpaper, or you can use this little sanding block, and I'm going to turn the striker in a circle, and I'm going to keep the sandpaper at an angle, and essentially you're just going to scuff up the surface of that striker. Here's another striker. This is a composite material, same concept. You want to put a very slight curve on the top of that thing, not flat, but not round. It should look just like that, and you're going to essentially create that angle as you're turning the striker in your fingers, and that's going to add a fresh surface to that will then meet the fresh surface of your call. Very simple. Now, I'll tell you that I do this as often as every other time that I sit down to use it. Some guys might do it once a day, some might do it once a week, but to maintain control, to give a good, pure turkey sound, you need to maintain the surface of your friction calls and the tips of your strikers to do that. It's very easy. It's going to make things sound a lot better, and you're going to kill more birds if you've got more control. Food for thought.